Welcome to Faz Radio. And do we have a name for this show today? A clickbaity name, sir?
A
Titan?
clickbaity name?
Dominus de Cryptovir.
We can call it Why We Love GALA.
Why Titan loves GALA. Titan
Because
loves
they
GALA.
they give me a reason to podcast. That's why I love them, even though I shit talk them.
So Titan has come up with some links that we're going to go over. Probably won't click on those links, but we'll talk about those links. One is about the upcoming governance proposals for the GALA nodes. The next is the GALA V2 token drop, a new era for the GALA Games ecosystem.
Another new era. We started a new era at the beginning of the year. That failed. Now we're moving on to our second new era.
The next one is what we will touch
Era
on.
V2.
We will touch on, but not go deeply into Spider Tank's economy changes and their sale. They have a new sale of new tank parts.
And I'm gonna hand you your ass on that one.
Are you clicking through all the links, Ms. Producer?
She might be. She's trying to be helpful and get them ready for us. That I'm going with that. See, I'll stay positive with our producer.
And the little thing in the upper right-hand corner is Nerd Node.
Nerd Node.
Because we are sponsored by the Nerd Node people.
Nerd Node.
If you are
V1.
running a GALA node, you will be you'll be eligible to vote in the upcoming governance proposals with your GALA node. Nerd Node helps you run those nodes. They don't own them; they just help you run them.
I think we should push for voter ID.
Huh. Well, technically, they all are kind of an ID.
No, we don't know who owns half of them.
Oh, I see.
That aren't turned on.
So you want to make all votes public?
Well, I do think that the new Jerry Chain Block Explorer, that they released that again today. Did you know that? Bitbender posted the explorer.gala.com or something like that.
On Twitter?
No, in gold.
Well, you're not supposed to say these things if they're in gold.
No, everybody knows about it now. Everything gets out of there like in 5 minutes.
Oh, explorer.gala.com. Yeah, it does look like a blockchain explorer. That's cool.
But there's another concerning conspiracy there too. Drama. Yeah. Because the music transactions are missing. And Bitbender explained it away as, well, GALA Music isn't ready yet. So they requested that their data not be put on chain yet.
I could understand that. I
Why?
respect that.
What's the difference? What do you have to be ready for?
We're not done yet. I'm fine.
Doesn't
GALA
matter.
Music is a
Their
lot newer.
their transactions shouldn't matter unless they're doing something that they don't want people to see.
Let's see if I can share my screen. How do I do this? Present, share screen, Brave tab, Block Explorer. Are you sure that this is out of gold?
I don't know.
I'm gonna go look. Maybe we just got ourselves in trouble.
No, we didn't. Faz can't be in trouble.
No,
You're Bitbender's bestie.
I want to be nice.
Bat your eyelashes. Make sure he sounds like a hero to the population.
Let's see. I see that in gold only.
No, it's all over GALA
Show
by
me,
now.
show me one
I'm
place
looking.
that is somewhere, and then
I'm looking. Shh. Explorer.gala.com.
sorry about that, Bitbender. I blame Titan.
It's in the Spider Tanks channel too.
Oh, really? Prove it.
Let me go here.
'Cause I only see 3 results when I look
here
on the GALA chain. Not the GALA chain, the GALA Discord.
Oh. It says Spider Tanks channel in the link, but it is in gold, it looks like. Whoops.
Uh-huh. All right. Well, we won't review that right now because I do have some comments on that. But I guess you just found out something. We won't advertise it.
No. I got misled.
Oh? Is that true, Mr. Harper? How do we know this? Where have we it's not about getting access to it. We just said where it was.
I'm going to post this in our private channel. This is what misled me.
I was going to start like demoing stuff in there and talking about stuff.
See how the link looks? That's why I thought. Spider Tanks channel.
Oh, that's in the Spider Tanks channel?
Well, that's what I thought. That's why I thought it was outside of gold.
Let's see here. What if I did this?
So, yeah, using the link is the same link as the last one. So it is missing data, and the format, even when there was a sneaky peek for certain members, it has less information than on that sneak peek.
Well, again, a sneak peek is probably a technology. It's probably not even the actual thing that you see, but rather what they're putting together. And they probably only are making live the things that actually work. I mean, I've done that before.
Well, if they're going to pare it down, I've got a problem with that because there wasn't enough information on the early version that we got for like an hour.
I would rather that what they do show you actually works. If they have to pare it down, at least let what they have there actually work.
Okay, but if you can't find anything on it and you can't associate things on it,
then it's useless.
and we hadn't figured out if the privacy layer on that, if it's dynamic user IDs, you won't be able to link transactions, which makes it useless. Except to you. I mean, you can see your own transaction. I suppose that's a benefit, but you can't track other transactions. If they use dynamic, we haven't figured it out yet. We haven't had enough time to play with it.
Well, let's put a pin in that and talk about that later. I want to get into the node vote because
let's pull that one up first because that's a doozy. I've got lots to say on that document.
Let me share my screen.
Share it. Go ahead. Open it up slowly. Yes.
You can go home now. All right. Upcoming governance proposals. So they finally have another node vote after who knows how long. And before I get any further, I just have a few just questions. Or not
there's the input
observations.
one, yeah. I didn't see that one at the top. You're right.
Yeah. So this is a node vote on things that GALA Games is going to do. Now, you're not actually voting, apparently, on what's going to happen. They're not giving you any indication in this article that something's going to happen. They're just giving an indication that you're giving input. That's important to know, because the nodes are paying you, and for running them, and they have governance proposals. But really, what it is it's not really governance. It's just you're going to vote on what GALA might do, maybe if they feel like it. Okay, I mean, everybody could vote for, I don't know, popsicles for everyone. GAL's not going to do it, even if there's a majority. So
I have just one word to say to that, and it's called shooty booms. When people voted for shooty booms, they removed the node vote and went to a spreadsheet so that they can control it. And they didn't show anybody what was on the spreadsheet. They just announced what was on it. So at that point, and if you go back to that time around the node vote and listen to Faz Radio, I ripped them a new one for that because that was complete bullshit. Do you see?
Like
you hear the tension in my voice? They led us to believe that our vote would determine the outcome of these things. Now, the language, as Faz started to point out, and there's another one a little bit further down that kind of says the same thing. This is what we're doing, but we want to let you know and get your feedback. Your voice matters in the decision-making process of the GALA Games platform. So, again, this is what we're doing. Yeah, okay, so, right, that is another contentious issue, Nate. You're absolutely right. The original votes took place on that, and then it didn't come out exactly the way I think GALA wanted it.
I thought that original thing was another kind of direction vote. I didn't think that. Again, if all of these are just votes for like we're going to influence them, they could put the same thing there 50 fucking million times. It doesn't matter.
Well, and the fact that we can't choose what goes on there, that's governance, is when people can propose what goes on there, not just GALA. This is a one-way kind of road here.
Now, my understanding of the governance originally, how it was supposed to go, was that there were going to be multiple development shops, of which GALA was one. And we probably have Faz radios where I was saying that.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they would determine, like, how things would get in the games, for example. If you had two development shops, are they both going to be able to put things in the game, and who does it, and who controls who's the gatekeeper for that kind of thing? Is it the node voting? Okay, then whenever the nodes say that it goes in, it goes in. Well, if that is a goal, we are so far away from that. That's such a long way off that, I can't even see the light at the end of the tunnel. What I'm
one of
seeing
the
here is
Bitbender interviews, you got him to say that that's something they want to do, but they don't know how to do it yet. That was like a year ago.
I believe I quoted Benefactor from a year before that, or more before that, by saying that's eventually where they want to get to. So whatever the case is, if we're looking at, I'm looking from the tax point of view. If you're running a node, are these nodes securities? Are they securities if you can buy them and sell them? Are they securities? I mean, what does the node votes really mean? If you're just buying software that's just running nodes, then what's this vote all about?
It isn't software. It's a license to
That's
get
true.
paid, because anybody can run a node for free.
No. Let's call it like it is. It's a license to run software, not to get paid.
No.
I don't think there's a guarantee that you get paid. I don't think there's a guarantee that you get paid.
Faz, I can go and download a node for my kid, and he can run it separate from mine, a separate node. He just won't get paid. So you're not buying software because he can run the software. You're buying a license to get paid. That's what you're buying.
Okay. You might be right.
I'm definitely right.
Well, whatever the point is, if you do own a node, that would also be a license to vote. But what are you really voting on? You're
Correct.
voting on possibly influencing them. And I say possibly because they may change their mind, they may not do it. A lot of companies that develop games, they go to their Discord members or their communities to get a community vote. Well, GALA gets community votes also. So what's the difference between a community vote and these node votes? It doesn't look like there's much.
Right.
So whatever the case is, this node vote seems a little bit, I'm not even looking at what's being voted on right now. I'm just talking about just the purpose of the votes. What do we really get
They
out of it?
promised governance votes, so they're delivering on that by providing governance votes.
But
it's
are you
not
governing?
in the spirit. It's not in the spirit of governance. It's fulfilling the obligation of the promise to offer votes.
But are you even governing?
That's really what it is. No,
are
you're
you
not.
even governing? No, you're
No.
just giving opinions.
You're giving opinions, and GALA's going to do what GALA's going to do.
I'm going to type define govern.
And I think
in Google,
we argued about this point once before, right towards the end of the year, as we were building up to the end of the year. I had mentioned, and I posted, I believe, a Discord conversation that Bitbender was having, and he was already talking like it didn't matter. Like, this is what they were doing, and we brought up the points. I posted where it showed. People were asking, well, wait, we haven't even voted on this yet, and you're talking like it's going to happen. And he says, oh, well, I guarantee that's where the vote's going to go, which started all kinds of new kerfuffles with that. So,
okay. Govern is to conduct the policy, actions, and affairs of a state, organization, or people. Okay, let's call this an organization. Well, it's not. Is it a decentralized organization? No.
No.
So, but again, what is the voting? Well, if they make the votes binding, is there a legal implication to that with the SEC? I would think if they were binding, that it would show some sort of decentralization going on, like GALA would take their marching orders from everybody. But they're not taking their marching orders from everybody. They're doing what they want.
Yeah, but they need to make you feel like you are.
Also, don't you need a license to access that node download?
No,
I don't know.
You do not. Nodes are free to run, unless that's changed. It used to be that you could download a node and run it till you're blue in the face. You just don't get paid for it. So I don't think they gatekeep that.
Well, the answer to that question would make you look like a fool then, because if you can't get an API key without purchasing the node, then you can't run a node. But maybe the API key is what causes you to be able to get credit for it.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. Let me go to GALA without logging in and see if I can download a node.
Well, I wanted to hit on just before we even talked about the node shit, just what governance actually meant for GALA Games nodes, for the GALA Games nodes. And it doesn't seem like governance means anything. That's all.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So,
it does not. So it shouldn't even be the word governance should probably be removed from that.
Suggestions? Community node operator suggestions.
Yeah, it's a suggestion box. That's really what it is.
Perhaps a weighted suggestion box. We might actually speak to what you guys say.
So, we had that argument out many times, but the crux of it is that the node voting and what happens, like with the games. Remember, we had the kerfuffle where people were voting for whether or not games were going to come on, and if we voted no, GALA said we'll bring them on anyway. We just won't offer rewards to the nodes. So it has nothing to do with what the community wants. They're just looking for validation from the community, and they're still going to do whatever it is they want to do.
So M.I.C. here says, binding votes imply more decentralization, but also seem to make the nodes seem like shares where there's a common enterprise. I disagree with that, because shares would imply that you're going to get something out of it, like a share in a company. This, if anything, would be a share in determining the direction of an application, of a feature. A share in the determining a feature. That's not. That doesn't seem to compute. So I don't know what you get a share of, but there's no language that says you get a share of GALA games or a share of a game. You get to influence their direction. But if they were binding, that still wouldn't be a share. I think it's literally you just help determine direction. You have to work to earn with the nodes. As far as yes, so when you run the node, you need to spend electricity, and ideally the idea is your nodes are actually running the games. If you're doing it on your home computer's CPU is running the games. They're not there
anymore.
yet.
No, they're not going there. That's the nodes aren't going to run. The founders' nodes aren't going to run games at all.
Well, they're going to run the blockchain. That's right. They're going to run they're going to run Geary or something.
And so, for those of you, I'm going to give Nate a shameless plug.
You mean Nate Harper of Nerd Node?
That's right. He did a fantastic podcast last week with Michael, and he had talked about
who's Michael?
Michael is somebody that he's known for a very long time. They did a lot of investing together. Really
So he
smart guy.
He did a cast with a guy named Michael who happens to trade.
Yes.
Come on, you need some more setup here.
No, they can go listen to the podcast.
Listen to his podcast with Michael, because we all know who Michael is.
They'll know who Michael is if they listen to the podcast. Now, can I finish before I lose my thought? I'm
Yes,
old.
sir.
Things go out quickly. So they had mentioned, that on the path that they're going, they have the ability to run Geary on the nodes now. And now apparently there's rumors. I don't know where this comes from. I'd have to look deeper, but there's the rumor that maybe additional nodes would be needed, or you convert. I know there was some talk about converting your founders node from a founders node into a Geary node, or there'll be second nodes that you might need.
Yeah, I heard some talk about that. Yeah,
they had a fantastic conversation about how that's maybe not the best approach to take, and I'm going to leave it at that. Go listen to his podcast. It's producers on it. It's a really good listen. That was that's probably one of my favorite ones that he's put out lately. So they make a whole bunch of fantastic points all in a quick little jumble there. So anyway, getting kind of back into what we're talking about before we move on from nodes, we got a ton to talk about today. You got to take this stuff with a grain of salt. I mean, because it's not what they hyped it up to be. It's here's what we're doing. Give us your opinion, but hey, if you don't like it, too bad. This is the direction we're going.
Well,
it's like it's like a premonition. We're thinking about voting on this, meaning that's what we're going to do.
I think that they need better communication. I've hit this one a lot as to what the fuck they're doing. Okay, so I pounded them before on giving a roadmap. They gave a roadmap, but the roadmap seems to be like, we're going to do this here, we're going to do this here. But it's, was there even a roadmap for governance? Why are we getting a node vote about governance? I mean, is this stuff going to go on the roadmap?
Their roadmap is worthless. They're not doing anything associated with the roadmap yet.
So the only thing that I could say to read into what they're doing is to say that they're still building, but I kind of don't understand enough about what they're building anymore. Now, if I have to go and check the Discord daily to find out their stream of consciousness or stream of thoughts to know what's going on, okay, but do all the node owners need to do that too? Because I just prefer to read a Medium article or something that can consolidate things down.
The node votes are inconsistent. It's been too long. Nobody knows what's going on anymore. The node vote was supposed to happen first quarter, and they're still even behind. They came up with a bunch of
things. I don't mind things being delayed. You know what I'd like to see is and I said this from the beginning, I'd like to see a fucking news show, like a daily or like a weekly news show by GALA Games explaining this is what's being worked on, this is what we've done in the last week, this is what we've done in the last month, this is where we're going. That's it. Answer those 3 questions.
So
What have we been doing? What are we currently doing? What are we expecting to be doing? And they can even say things like, okay, we were working on this. We had an issue with Jiri, so we're going to put that on the back burner for a little while, and then we're going a little further. That's what I'd like to see as a node owner.
okay, so that's a good idea. The Gala Weekly, and so the other problem is they probably want to turn that into an AMA, which
Okay. Let's
turns
talk
into
about
a-
AMAs, because AMAs are really, no matter what you ask, they just cherry pick the questions that they want to answer.
right.
People actually want to know answers to questions. It would be nice if they just had a simple format that people could follow to know what to expect. I'd love to do that ourselves, but I mean, every time I've tried to talk to people at Gala Games, they've been pretty hard to keep track of. They don't reliably respond. If somebody outside of Gala Games had a show like this, there'd be a lot of, you'd have to scan their Discord every day and just glean out little bits from their stream of consciousness.
Well, this excuse of building all the time is wearing thin too, and they've got to produce something. They've been building for 2.5 years. They have yet to produce anything worthwhile. So that is another big problem.
I think
we're busy building. They came up. They were supposed to do a quarterly burn. They committed to burning everything going into the store. Then when people called them out on it, they said, oh, well, no, now we're going to do quarterly burns. We'll burn it quarterly. And the first quarter came and went. Did they burn anything? No, we're busy building. There's always an excuse, and lately it's the building thing. So I want them to stop building and release things.
Well, you know what's funny? That was their building is what I've been saying over a long time, and you're saying that they've picked up my line.
Now it's just an empty excuse.
Well,
and again,
I would say that we're building is a valid thing to say, but if you're just constantly building all the time, you don't show something, then people are going to start wondering what the fuck. And it's not. I don't think that the people that own the Gala token need to be informed. I think the people that own the nodes need to be informed. I'm talking about as a founders node owner.
Okay, the original people who got them their billions, Faz, are the last people they care about at this point. And when we get to the spider tanks part, I'll show you what I mean by that. And that's where I'm going to disparage everything you've been talking about, that you've been pushing about rarity and everything else.
Okay, let's quickly go over the actual upcoming proposals. Because remember, this is input. So, turning nodes into NFTs. My understanding from the very beginning when I bought my node back in 2020 was that the nodes were going to be NFTs. It was stated on their little document, which is now gone. It was their, I forgot what document it was. They had a certain name for it was like their white paper or non-white paper. But, so it's always been known that the nodes were eventually turned into NFTs. Great. They've been promising that they would be doing that for quite a while. Why are we voting on this? Does this mean that they're going to do it sooner? They're going to do it right away? Or that they're really going to do it? I mean, were they going to stop doing it at one point? Oh, you walked off, Mr. Titan. You coming back? Oh, okay. So
I needed more water.
So the proposal, turning nodes into NFTs, this is I don't even know what the hell this means. Because maybe they're just saying, well, this is just going to formalize what we were always going to be doing. Great. Do we have a time frame? Does it mean it's actually on the docket? Because it actually was on the docket before. So the second one, modifying the emission and halving schedule. So I forgot. Wasn't there a way to make proposals? I forgot how there wasn't there a way for us to make proposals at one time?
No. So that was already voted on, and it was a very contentious and challenged outcome.
Well,
And
this
it boils
implies that
down.
this
It
implies that there's a
boiled.
proposal sitting somewhere, maybe one that's different than the last one.
I'm trying to explain it to you, and you keep
Okay,
cutting me
okay,
off.
go ahead.
They had discussion around what type. There was like 2 or 3 options. They voted to do it, and then they voted. There was going to be a second vote on which one of these. It was like 50-50 for GALA and people, 25-50-25. Do you
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
that
I remember
now?
that now.
So
And
then they were going to, right. And
we
they said,
all
well,
debated about that, and it
yes.
was
And they said, we're going to discuss it and then we'll vote on it. And guess what happened? No vote came out of it. So now they came up with a more brilliant idea and said, yeah, never mind all that stuff. We're changing this to where we're going to base when the halvenings happen based on the token supply. If there's too many tokens in the system, we're going to halve it sooner. If there's not enough tokens in the system, we're not going to do the halving every year.
okay. So it sounds like, as you were saying, yet another proposal, because remember, this is input. So I guess that it's just let's just tap the node owners and see their opinion. I'd like to see this proposal. Hopefully, there's a proposal here that I can read about.
They're not going to educate you before the vote.
Oh, okay, shut up. Anyway, the last one, establishing incentives for node uptime, stability, and participation. They have talked about this before, and Nate here says that we have voted on this before. From your recommendations, so this I would suggest might be a new proposal to create a different kind of incentive structure than we have voted on before.
Again, they changed their mind, different direction. New era V1 that happened, switching directions again, and that is part of that. Yeah.
So, what I've mentioned this a lot, and I'm gonna mention it a number more times in this cast. I feel like there needs to be an FAQ or some place to go to refer back to a burned down version of what they've been dripping all this time. Because they've got a lot of things in Discord, they got stuff in Twitter, they got things in random AMAs. I just want to see a fucking list of things that they're gonna the current state of things, whatever it is. I don't care what it is. If the nodes are going to be NFTs, great, put it on the list.
Well, the bigger problem is this is exactly like elections that take place in the real world. Okay, most of the people are uninformed. Most of the people don't know what's going on. I'll bet you if you took a poll, either in CFA or in the GALA server, I would bet you that half at least of the people would vote that if you put up, is the node vote binding on GALA, half of them would still answer yes. Because that's what they've been led to believe. Or they just believe on their own. I don't know. So you have uneducated people with very little information for the people who choose to try and educate themselves, to try and make this recommendation vote that they're going to do anyway.
So how many people are actually going to choose to educate themselves? I'm going to say less than I'm going to say like 1 to 5% maybe.
They're going to vote whatever puts the most money in their pocket. That's what's going to happen.
Okay, no. I'm just talking about people that educate them. As far as everybody else,
right? They're going to educate themselves.
They're going to ask. Well, they're going to ask other people what puts the most money in my pocket.
In their pocket, and that's the way they're going to vote. That's just reality, right?
So you're trying to say that these votes don't mean as much as you'd think that they mean. One might think.
Take it for what you will. DYOR, right? Do your own research. That's my take on it. If someone else has a different take, they're welcome to try and show me otherwise. But again, the wording is way better than in the past, right? They led you to believe in the past that it was a binding vote. This one talks about ideas and suggestions and...
Well, I don't personally like even the concept of modifying the GALA emission and halving schedule, because that means that GALA is still kind of in charge of the coin and how it's issued, which means the SEC has someone to sue. The SEC says, oh, so you can modify the emission and halving schedule, turn it off. And GALA can't say, well, it's outside of our control, it's decentralized. They can just turn it off.
Which is what I've been saying for over a year. Everything they do is more centralized. They're not moving towards decentralization.
Well,
every single thing they do is more central control.
I don't think I've been disagreeing with you there, but I was telling you during that time that GALA's goal is to get decentralized. But the problem is, what I want to see is, what we're in agreement with is, how are they moving toward decentralization? Just having an influence vote?
See, that's the key. If they're also saying, and people speculate as well, well, they're doing all these things to avoid the SEC. We have a comment right here in the cast about this, I think. Well, by moving things more centralized, they're making it worse on themselves. You would think common sense would tell you that if you want to avoid SEC things, you want to push all of that onto the community instead of sucking it all back into GALA.
Well, maybe they're worried about the SEC going after the GALA token, which may be more decentralized than the nodes. If anything, if I was the SEC, I'd go after the nodes, just like they went after the green nodes, right?
Well, there's a little bit of difference.
The green nodes were based upon some lies and stuff like that. But,
well, and there was no liquidity for the green token, and there were promises made that never came up. So we could.
Well, it sounds like there's more getting done with the GALA nodes and GALA coin than green and green's coin.
They have plausible deniability that they've tried. Yes. That doesn't mean they'll be successful, but they can stand up and say they've tried. But again, this, as you couldn't have put it more perfectly, this is sucking things back into GALA versus pushing it away and onto a more decentralized. Because that'll be one of the questions that they get asked. You're saying you're decentralized. How have you been moving this forward to make it more decentralized?
So that's the kind of roadmap.
Answer for that.
That's the kind of roadmap I'd like to see, which is, where are you going? You don't even have to be doing it yet. Just tell us where you're going. And if where you're going is, well, we're still figuring that out, then what kind of business are you?
Right. I've argued that with you too, and you kept saying, well, they need flexibility. They need to be able to pivot. This is a brand new industry and yada, yada, yada.
You're taking credit for all sorts of things. You're going to have to produce evidence for that. However, I have certainly said that they do need room to pivot, but I don't think that I've made it as general as in they don't have to be doing anything. I think what I'd like to see is them really nail down a role for themselves, but it seems like their role is all over the place.
Well, they said in February, we're switching everything to mobile. Mobile's now the number one focus.
Really?
And here we are. Yeah, they
now they got Meow
when
matched.
they bought those. Yeah, when they bought that platform and got those two games.
Okay.
And
in fact, aren't they moving the head of Townstar over to Meow Match now?
There's not a lot of info on that.
Oh.
We don't know what's going on. There's several people that show as deleted user. So nobody knows what's going on, and of course they're not saying anything. So who knows? Nobody knows who's running what at this point.
Okay, so we don't have a lot of... I don't buy the nobody knows who's running what, but it sounds like we don't have enough information. So
we don't have enough information, no.
Let's move on.
You want to dovetail into V2 or Spider Tanks next?
V2, that's our next in line. So let me
right.
share that screen. I'm going to close this one to see what happens. Share screen.
Your camera looks better this week too.
I'm still using the same,
maybe the shitty internet connection. You look like you don't look like a Minecraft carrier this week.
Okay, good. All right, let's share this thing. Okay, GALA V2. So this one I find interesting. Before we get into what GALA V2 is, I don't remember hearing a lot about this, but then again, I haven't been on the Discord. I'd certainly like to have heard more stuff from tweets and from everybody talking about it on CFA, but I haven't heard very much about GALA v2. This seems to me to come out of nowhere. But maybe they were working on it behind the scenes because this is about introducing GALA v2. Hey, this is something we're going to do. But they're giving you a date. In about 20 days, this is going to happen.
So I've got a lot to say about this. I'll be as succinct as I possibly can. So they're basically intentions that they have aside, okay, because I can see the argument coming for this already. Intentions aside, they're totally fucking the community by doing this. So what they did too, there was an announcement made today because they shut down being able to purchase NFTs on OpenSea using the GALA coin.
They did?
They did. It was removed from OpenSea today.
Oh, today. Okay.
You can only transact in ETH or USDC, or that's it, right? So you can't buy things or list things in GALA anymore. And I'm assuming, I haven't looked yet because I didn't have enough time after work, but if you listed something in GALA, I would assume it either converted to ETH or was delisted. So here's the thing. They have said the snapshot is on May 14th, and May 15th you'll be airdropped replacement tokens. Now, because they took the listings off of GALA, you can't accumulate tokens, and the token is going to crash. The V1 token is going to crash like there's no tomorrow. So you can't buy anything or sell anything using the V1 token to try and do anything with it. If it goes to, 0.0002, you can buy a ton of it on the 13th, and then you get the airdrop of V2, but what's that going to do to the token price at that point?
Well, GALA's a speculation coin at this point.
Well, my point being is their intention, I believe, is to try and avoid people getting scammed after the 15th by people sending the V1 tokens to pay for something which is worthless, right? But doing it a month ahead of time, they're trying to kill the token before it's time, right?
Well, it sounds like they're just trying to make a transition. I wouldn't read too much into that. It sounds like they're actually doing some due diligence, which you would give them shit over if they didn't do it. You'd be like, hey, how come you didn't prepare for this? I mean, it sounds like you'll complain in any situation.
Well, that's why I said let's ignore intentions for the moment. I don't think they're nefariously doing it, but I think they didn't think it through all the way.
How would they how would they be able to think it through better?
So the airdrop concept in itself, going all the way back to that, is that the right move for it?
Well, apparently they need to add some features to the coin, which we haven't gotten into, that'll support a future strategy for GALA games.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming that hopefully this strategy could be made decentralized. If it's just for GALA games, that kind of sucks.
Well, that's the thing is, again, we don't have information other than a generic statement that it gives them more flexibility.
Well, there's a tweet from Bitbender stating what the specific things that they get.
Right. So I don't know how to read contracts, but they dropped the contract address today. And I posted it. Yeah, that's what I posted in our private room pre-show. Well, we should probably put that out. And somebody who knows how to read these contracts way better than me can look into that contract address and tell us if it varies from what was already posted about the why behind the why, because it doesn't look like a normal contract to me. It looks way different now. I know things change.
Well, I
don't
think that we're right now in the position to be able to do some in-depth analysis about the contract. So I don't want to get into the details about how they're implementing the changes. I just want to go over the changes and the purpose behind the changes, or the ostensible purpose behind the changes. Where's my link that I said sent for the Bitbender's thing.
So,
Or Bitbender explains the 4 things that this new V2 token is going to give.
so I'm not opposed to a new token, but I want to know the details from the contract and what it really means versus what their marketing department has to say. And if there's any red flags in there about being able to obfuscate.
Obfuscate.
Yeah, that's what I said. I just say the word because I'm practicing. I'll get it one day. Any of the contract owners or people who have privileges with that, because it does say, I did catch a blurb in there when I skimmed it, that the contract owner can be changed. And
well, I want to get into the features that what
Yeah.
it's supposed to do rather than the specifics, because we don't know enough to talk about that. So
no,
okay,
because I can't read those very well anymore. There's like 9 sections to this contract where it used to be just 3 or 4. So I'm not
Okay.
even going to try and be an expert.
so this GALA V2 token, according to Bitbender, has a number of improvements, including, which I would suppose that these are the most important ones, or else you wouldn't have. I don't think he's doing random. Better tracking of burns needed for bridges and pay by burn. This seems to be a concept that has come out for spider tanks when spider tanks came out, that they're wanting to keep going with, but do it for the GALA coin. If you remember, they were going to do that with specific tokens. Like it was going to be the Silk token that did this. But they want to do it with all GALA, apparently now. That's new. It would have been nice to be able to vote on that, by the way. But I don't recall if we did or not. Security enhancements, I'm actually cool with that. When it says increased decentralization, perhaps it means increased possibility for decentralization, because it's not like they're doing it right now. And I have no idea what a Gnosis safe is, but let's just say that's a security thing. Upgradability. So they don't have to issue another token. So this thing, like,
But
that might be what you were talking about.
let's pause on that for just one moment. What does upgradable mean?
I would think that upgradable would mean that they could change some fundamental things about the token. Like, I don't know.
Right, that's scary. What can they change?
It'd be nice to have a note vote on that. Or at least some sort of roadmap on that. So now let's go into this bigger document here, which I had open a second ago. Hold on. Brave tab. What's this? Introducing GALA V2. So ostensibly, this goes more into detail right here. So we had the tweet.
Not really. They put more words in there, but not much more detail.
Wow, actually, there's not a lot more words either.
Always. There's the
wait.
minimum information that they can get away with giving.
Okay, so this is from the tweet. Bitbender's tweet said, enhanced burn, security enhancement, and future upgradability. So we don't know.
Same thing.
And this is... Basically, he literally just pulled 3 things out of this article.
Yeah.
He pulled out the 3 things mentioned in this article and not more. I'd like to know what the host of improvements are.
Right.
So, okay, this seems to be introducing the concept, but it'd be nice if while they're introducing the concept, they didn't give us a drop-dead date of May 15th. It'd be nice if they did it in a few months and they could tell us more about it in the intervening time. So I'm trying to be helpful here. I don't want to complain. I want to try and be helpful here.
Well, your definition of complaining is anything that's not good news. So even unknown things, right? Like this, there's, again, no details. This has been their track record since day one. It's hype talk, new token, new things, scalability, upgradability. Whoa, this is going to be awesome. Just wait and see.
Yeah, this is all we got. So now of course, in order to do this, since they're going to be introducing a new token, they're going to do a drop. Now, my question is, what are the tax implications of this? Because
Oh,
if
go
I have
to CFA.
so if
We're
I
gonna
have
post it.
you share a CFA screen. How about you do that?
No, I'm going to share it because one of our awesome community members posted a document at CFA from his tax person that shows how this is not taxable after all. Because I was on the tax bandwagon as well.
Well, my thought is my thought about airdrops and forking is I thought forking was an airdrop. And the IRS, I believe, uses the BCH fork as an airdrop. You have Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin Cash came out in 2017. That was, and that you'd be if you're airdrop if you have $10 in GALA tokens and you're airdropped more tokens, then you'd have to pay taxes on that. And I'm going to say unless this is meant as a fork, and which means you would have to never, ever transact in the previous GALA token ever again. By the way, this is not tax advice. It's just stuff that I
This
believe.
is, thank you, Ed777. He posted the...
Share your screen, sir.
Well, I'm not sharing the screen. Well, I can, I suppose. But
Yeah,
I posted the link to that as well. Share screen.
Share screen.
Window... GALA stuff, share. Are you looking at it?
We are now.
Okay, so right here, Ed777, my accountant just sent me this document from the IRS, which was just released today, that it seems to explain that GALA V2 should not be a taxable event. I had complained, I'll open this up. I had complained...
You're going to have to share that window. You're going to have to share that now.
Shit. All right, hang on. Stop sharing that one. Present. Share screen. Window. Where is it? Donde está? There it is. Got it. Ah! That's big. So, this just came out today, 4/21/23. Individual taxpayer. So, it goes through all of this, and it says... that because it's a like kind, I'll summarize it, because it's a like kind, you're not gaining any additional monetary benefits, and it's essentially the same token, that you should be okay. That is the opinion of the tax person that sent this to Ed. Do not rely on that. Go see your own tax person. They might be different.
Wait a minute. Is this public?
Yes.
Okay.
IRS.gov. See at the top?
No, I was wondering if this this PDF is public. This
Yes.
is from okay.
Yes. So read it yourself, but it basically says it's basically just swapping one for another, because my bitch was, and I started talking about this with Anthony the other day when I was at lunch. If the V1 token goes to 0, and you're given the GALA and it's worth 5 cents on the day it's dropped, that's a huge taxable event. And that's bullshit that GALA should do that to us because they're crashing the other coin. But apparently, that link gives a basis to consider a different tax treatment of this type of airdrop. So Ed's the hero of the day for sharing that. Thank you.
So good. Good. That's. I would think if they're simply replacing something that's no longer working, that your value has just shifted to the new token. But
right.
Remember
so that
the
does
U.S.
screw up
government
basis though.
Remember that that's interesting. The U.S. government is fighting hard against crypto, and they're fighting hard against it because it's a new way of doing things that they're not in charge of, that they haven't started with. A cost basis, yes, that's a fun one. So okay, so
Right.
Let's get into that one. So if the cost basis is when you got the token originally, how much did you pay for it? You know, and then you could look at the original purchase on the original date. Let's say it's January 1st, 2021, that you bought all your GALA tokens, and then they got swapped out on January 1st, 2024. Well,
Do you start over again?
if is it, Or do you have to jump over to another token and include that cost basis? I mean, that's
I don't
the
know.
old token.
So yeah, and of course, GALA's not going to give tax advice. So you're on your own with that. Good luck.
Okay, what? Okay. Again, Bitcoin has forked before.
Right.
I'm curious about what's happened with the cost basis with Bitcoin.
I don't know.
I
You'd
thought
have to
forks were
research
considered airdrops personally, but I don't know. It's going to be fun, and your tax person is going to barely know what they're talking about if they know at all. Just saying.
Right.
That's a fair warning.
Give it your best guess. That's what I do. And have at least a leg to stand on, an argument to make, just in case they show up at your door.
Okay.
So the need for a new token, I can understand that when a platform decides they're going to go a different direction, it's quite possible that a new token would serve them better. So I have no problem with the concept of a new token as a foundation. I have a problem with zero details other than words. Remember, we've hit this a million times, especially in the last 3 months. You can't take what they say for fact. And as it's been pointed out several times in the Discord, there's a clause in the agreement that you sign, the terms and conditions of GALA, that anything they say, we posted it here on Faz Radio, anything they say, they can lie to us and it doesn't matter. So take that for what you will.
Okay, so we're we got to keep moving here because
I know we're already at an hour.
So okay,
Holy
so
crap.
this for the airdrop says you must remove your GALA from any liquidity pools or smart contracts. Bitbender started talking about this. Can you explain why you would probably want to do that?
So you can, I should phrase this carefully. You should be okay if you're in a liquidity pool, because it'll, as it swaps, it should swap back in. It should still see it. The odds of a boo-boo or a mistake happening are exponentially higher if they're in a liquidity pool or a smart contract. Because when they do the snapshot, it may not pick up exactly how many tokens you have. So there's the odds are worse that it's going to pick that up. It's not impossible, but the odds are worse. Plus, they want not only that, but they want everything out of liquidity pools so people don't get rugged. If there's V1 tokens left in a liquidity pool and you go to swap, there's no guarantee. Again, it's only as good as the smart contract as it's written. And
we know smart contract.
We know that
smart contract.
That nobody's perfect with their smart contract writing skills anywhere, but GALA has had issues with those as well for other things. I would not trust that it's going to be solid. So just get it to a wallet, any wallet, private wallet, MetaMask, Trust Wallet, Exodus, Ledger, Trezor.
So they're also
anywhere.
saying they're also saying, let's see if I could find it in here. They're saying have it in your own wallet, rather, I'm assuming, instead of an exchange, because the exchanges might not choose to pick up the new token.
Right. They're working with all the major ones, but of course you'll be the one standing there with the one that doesn't support it, and then you're going to be butthurt.
By the way,
just pull it out.
Oh, it's important to remember, we'll bring this up again, when you have your tokens on an exchange, it's not your tokens. Basically, you put it in their big pool, and then they say, oh, this GALA is yours. But if they never get the airdrop, they're not going to upgrade your coins. And also, things might not work on their end, and then you might not get it. So if you have it in your own wallet, they're just going to airdrop to all the wallets that have GALA.
Right.
That's going to be a lot of wallets.
Put it in your own wallet that you control.
Okay. And
all right.
That means if you have anything on an exchange, you better sell it now. Okay.
And this is important too. They stress this. Remember the P-GALA bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
Those will not count. It is not an official GALA token. So if you have your GALA on BSC, the Binance Smart Chain, and it's P GALA and not regular GALA, you will not receive credit for that.
Oh, I'm worse. I have B GALA on BitTrue. BitTrue took
Right.
away GALA for me. I somehow don't think that I'm going to get that back, and I don't think it's going to be upgraded, so I think I'm just boned.
Yep.
I was boned before, and it's not going to get any better.
Well, listen, so there's another risk. I'm going to FUD the shit out of this. There's another risk because as you've seen Gary Gensler going after these exchanges because they just did what, Bittrex, I think it was?
Bittrex,
They just went after Bittrex and said they were holding unregistered securities on their exchange. What if they decide...
They named them. They named them too.
Right. So what if they decide all of a sudden that GALA's included in that? Or this gives the opportunity to an exchange because they have to switch contracts. They go, odds of that one being a security are pretty high. No, we're not going to support it. There's a huge risk for that, especially now. These exchanges are not very friendly to outside projects anymore because of that risk after watching Bittrex get sunk.
If this new token is going to allow for upgradability, then they can simply change it until the exchange is happy with it. So
right, but there's a risk. I want to point that out. That's all.
It doesn't matter. The risk the very fact that they can upgrade and change it means they can fix any issue that you could bring up along that line.
They control the coin. You don't. It's
moot.
not decentralized.
So your point is moot, but you do have a point in saying it's less centralized. Oh, sorry, more centralized. It's more centralized.
Yes, it is. Everything is more centralized as time goes on.
Okay.
But they'll tell you it's decentralized.
So let's move off the token drop.
Buzzword.
Let's move off the token drop.
All right.
The next one is, and I want to be quick about this, spider tanks.
That's what she said.
Spider tanks. Let me see if I have my spider tank window up. I have a lot of windows. Spider tanks, where are you?
Starts with an S.
Yeah, it's not pulling up. I'm going to open another window and try and share that. Uh-oh.
The pollen is piled on the cars here. My allergies are an absolute disaster.
Okay. Spider tanks. Now, the part that I want... So they have some economy changes coming up with spider tanks. My problem with this isn't... I'm not going to get into the details because the details are kind of complicated. And what gets me is... Where's that at? New changes. So they do talk about number of changes, such as doing away with the non-replacement allowance, doing things rather than, the way that they used to do the burn. But it just seems complicated. And I don't know, when you vote, I was going to say when you vote on things, when you vote on things, they tend to make the explanations a lot simpler. And to me, these economy changes are only going to matter to the very, very insular spider tank people who are playing it all the time. For everybody else, for you and me, we're not going to know. And they get fairly detailed with the economic changes. As far as percentages of the daily distribution, those have changed. Well, I'd like to see the old and the new numbers next to each other.
Somebody posted that in Discord and suggested that GALA was giving themselves a raise, them and Game Media.
Well, I don't know. That's the thing, because I don't see the old and new numbers next to each other.
Go look at CFA; it's in there.
Well, you can do that since you mentioned it. I'm not going to go scanning for something that you said is in there. I'm showing the screen here. But the point is that they have a number of changes that they've suggested. Do I have another spider tank? Oh, I'm sharing the wrong one. So you see all these changes here. Great. I want to see the old numbers. I want to see what's changed. I want to know why. You could change this with a simple table, with old and new, and say this will make it so that dot dot dot. They do talk about the new changes here and talk in a number of paragraphs, but I want it to be but simple for people, and not have it and people not have to sit there and comb through it to see what the changes are. But they might not, they might have to do this for every game. I don't know. You publish newspapers on a 6th grade level. I think that they should explain changes on a very, very easy level as well.
Well, this goes back to stuff we've been talking about again for the last few months. When a new player, they need new players. They desperately need new players or they're going to fail. And when a new player comes in and looks at this document, the non-replacement allowance and the replacement allowance pools entirely combining into one distribution, blah, 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 they're not going to play. It's just stupid. They've got to decomplicate this, and they have to make it easy. And what they say, and what everybody else in the ecosystem says, ad nauseum. This is about gaming. This is just about playing games. So just go play the game and don't worry about any of this. Well, the reason people have to worry about this is because it appears that the players only play because of the money. It appears that way. When the money goes up and the distributions go up, players come and play. When the distributions go down or there's no money to be had, the players go away. So it's an impossible loop. They need players. They need a game that people want to play, and they don't give a shit about the token or the money or the earnings. They can't do that. They have to rely on the money.
You said in a negative way something that I've said in a neutral way in the past. By the way, I want to mute you for a second, see if that makes that ticking noise go away that CryptoView is mentioning. Yeah, it's totally Titan. So you don't hear the ticking noise anymore. Anyway.
Ticking noise?
There's ticking noise now that I just unmuted you. Here, I'm going to mute you again. There's no ticking noise anymore. Haha. Okay, anyway.
You know what? That's my box. That's my little Apple thing. That's my computer.
Turn your damn box off then.
I can't.
Why did it make a ticking noise?
I don't know. I don't know what it's doing. It's brand new, so it isn't broken.
And now I just forgot what the hell I was talking about.
You do that to me all the time. Payback's a bitch, right?
Mm-hmm. See, I had to talk about the ticking noise. Thanks a lot, CryptoView.
Here, I'll mute while you...
While I what? No, you can keep going now. Keep talking about what you were previously talking about. I totally forgot because I'm old.
No, we were talking. I made the comment about how the players show up when there's money and
okay.
Okay.
So you've said in a negative way what I've said in a pretty neutral way, which is they've got to find the balance of when people will come in, and they're gonna certainly raise things up to get more people to come in, but when too many people start taking advantage of all the money, they don't want to appear like a security, so they're going to make it less profitable. I think they're looking for a sweet spot. I predicted that this would happen in the past, but you're putting it in a very negative light. It's just a neutral thing. They're going to look for a sweet spot. A lot of games out there, hey, you're unmuted and you're not ticking anymore. Say something. No, we can't hear you.
No, I'm muted. I'm muted on
my your side. Okay.
Mic. Yeah.
So that this is inevitable. It's just got to happen. So I don't have a problem with this. It's not a negative thing. It's just what has to happen. Every game has to maintain a balance of some sort.
They have to get players first. Before they have anything to balance, they have to get players, and they're not going to get players unless they have a good game.
First, well,
Spider Tanks isn't terrible.
I would say that they're still kind of feeling out what their business model is. So when you say first, I don't think that matters. I think they're still building their first.
Well, you can play Spider Tanks. You can play Townstar. It's not ideal. It's not a top quality game by any means, either one of them. But they are playable games, which is a plus, right? So they're focused. They try. This is what aggravates me, and I've said this before. They promote these as play and earn, but then they bitch when we talk about the money part.
When people talk about earning, what's funny is when Gala Games first started out, they had a some videos that they put out about how towns in the Philippines are subsisting off of play to earn games, and pointing out that they want to do this kind of thing too. Yet when you have towns that are subsisting off of play to earn games, that's when regulators get really, really interested. And it's like, wait, what? You're giving money away? You're redistributing wealth? We want our part of it. We want to make sure that you're not taking advantage of whoever. And so then they try to shut it down.
They're all about protecting the investor, after all.
Well, I don't know anymore what the SEC actually thinks it's doing, because its idea of protecting the investor seems to be just all over the place. And the way that they protect the investor is to simply just put people in jail, or just make people wrong and just punish them, and everybody else has to notice what they're doing. It's literally like going outside and wondering where you can walk on the street, and then you see a cop like shoot people dead that walk, in the middle of the road versus the side of the road, and you conclude to yourself, oh, better not walk down the middle of the road or I'll get shot. I better walk down the side of the road. Nope, that dude just got shot too, so I'm going to walk between the middle and the side of the road. And so that's their way of actually informing people. They don't tell people, they just shoot people. And like, we isn't it obvious? These people got sued into oblivion. So that's been our guidance.
Well, they've got to make it simpler, and they have to make better games.
Oh, you're talking
That's all
about
there is
Gala.
to it.
You're talking about Gala Games. I was talking about the SEC. But yeah, sure. I would love to see Gala Games making their direction as simple as possible. If you're going to go forward, I understand that they're going to have articles to say, hey, Gala V2 is going to have upgradability and it's going to have more security and whatever. But we need to know where they're going with that.
All right, so I do want to make my point that I've been alluding to since the green room. Pull up that Spider Tanks document again, the long one, please.
Actually, it's still here.
I think it's still there, yeah. All right, so scroll down to the new generation tanks.
Is that on?
Keep
No,
going.
No.
Is that
no.
the other document? Right, there it was. I just saw it. Where it's underlined Gen 2 tanks.
Where?
Up. A little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Right there. As Generation 2 tanks and beyond become the norm, it will be more difficult for players to acquire. Okay. You have sat on your high horse for this entire last year that, oh my God, having Gen 1 tanks, those are going to be worth so much more. They're collector's items. Generation 1 of everything is going to be the best.
I said probably. I don't think I've sat on a high horse.
And you go on to your Magic the Gathering and all that fun stuff.
I would love to see that, yes, definitely.
They tell you right here, they're going to become the norm. The better tanks. They're better tanks than Gen 1. Why is Gen 1 tanks going to have any value? If the tanks that come out in each concurrent generation are better than
Okay, wait a minute.
tanks.
Let's read the sentence again, because this is where people like you go way too far. As Generation 2 tanks, as Generation 2 tanks become the norm, as they become the norm, it'll become more difficult for players to acquire level 30 tank parts. This would make me think any tank, not just Gen 2 tank parts. Any tank parts.
Mm-hmm.
So that's different than what you just said. You're trying to say, well, Gen 2 tanks are going to be the tanks that are going to be more rare. They're talking about all the tanks.
When Gen 3 comes out, Gen 1 and 2 aren't going to be worth anything because they're not going to be as good. And when Gen 4 comes out, they're going to be better, and Gens 1, 2, and 3 aren't going to be as good.
I don't know. They're not saying that. You're adding.
Oh.
What they're actually saying is it's just going to become more difficult to acquire level 30 tank parts, period. So if you happen to have a level 30 tank, whatever it is, whether it's a Gen 2 tank or a Gen 1 tank, then you are doing pretty good. Hopefully
our resident expert, the General. He's a huge Spidey tanker. Shooty
They
boomer.
said they said it will earn more than Gen 2, but then they changed it. They earn some, but only a little bit more expensive to upgrade.
So how is they again screwing the people over who bought early and for more money?
I don't have enough information. It sounds like he's talking about something that was on the Discord or something like that, which we don't really have a lot of insight into.
I know
right
the
now.
general plays. I've seen his.
Hey, I'm
comments, so
fine with.
He knows way more than both of us combined.
I'm perfectly fine with what the general is saying. This does kind of suck. They earn some, but only a little bit more expensive to upgrade. So Gen 2 is a little bit more expensive to upgrade than Gen 1. So basically, Gen 1, what you get out of Gen 1 is it's slightly cheaper to upgrade.
Yikes.
All right. Are we done? Oh, what's he saying? Speaking of promoting Gen 1.
I hear a bunch of little noises like birds. What is that? Nothing, right?
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Uh-huh.
So we're like 16 minutes over. I gotta go.
Suddenly he's got to go. The birds chirp and he's got to go.
That's right. I gotta.
Correlation does equal causation.
Yeah, it means I have a life. So you should get one, sir. You and your 5 podcasts. We should mention them really quick so we know. There's a ghost podcast. There's a Unleashed Reality podcast. There's a podcast with you and Nate talking about conspiracy theories, right? What are the other two?
Those are not released yet.
Oh, okay. TBD.
TBD. But it'll be great. Don't worry. I'm taking out of the GALA playbook. You're going to love this. Oh, my God. It's going to be so awesome.
Titan FOMO. Titan's doing the FOMO now. All right. So thank you guys for coming by. I have a little tweet thing that I need to go deal with now. Little tweety thing. Titan hates that.
Yeah, you got a little tweety thing, all right.
Where's that button? Where's that button? Here's the button.